As a studio owner, it's crucial that you know what marketing strategies are bringing business in, as well as which ones might have some room for improvement. Within Successware, you have the ability to track this information and more. Under the inquiry menu, we have options to add, list, and modify our inquiries. There's also a section for web inquiries, which I'll go over a little later. In the Add Inquiry window, what we're doing here is we're not keeping track of an actual person's contact information. This has to do with just our marketing strategies and our inquiry salespeople. We want to know what made somebody contact you over another studio. So in this window, what we do is we set the appropriate date. If you're a few days behind, make sure you're putting in the current or correct date for when the person contacted you. And in this particular field, it's asking for the last name first and then the first name. So we'll go ahead and enter the last name and then first name. In the next field, we need to enter who the person spoke with. So go ahead and select your inquiry salesperson. You can type directly into the field, or if you prefer, you can use the drop-down menu to select from a saved list of salespeople. So we'll change this to Thomas. Next, you want to record what the person called in about. What type of photography are they interested in? We have our product line and categories section here on the left-hand side. You've already set up your product lines and categories through your wizard, so everything you've set up in the past will be available here. Now we want to know how this person heard about you. What made them contact you? We have our marketing strategy. There are different strategies that are already listed here for you as defaults within Successware. You'll want to customize this list so it's appropriate for the type of marketing you do. At the bottom of the window, there's a button that says Modify Lists. When we click on Modify Lists, it brings us to our Update List window. If you know you're never going to do any telemarketing, you can go ahead and select that from the list and hit Delete. You can go through and clean up anything you know you won't be using. That way you have a clear-cut list. If there are multiple things you want to add in all at the same time, you can go ahead and do that in this window. Once we've selected our marketing strategy, and we'll say that Peggy was referred to us, we want to know what type of referral this was. Who suggested that Peggy give us a call? Just like the other windows, you can click on the drop-down menu and we can select from a person who is already in our list. If the source of the referral is not in your list, simply type their name into the source field and add them to your list. You might have a previous client who absolutely raves about you and has sent multiple potential clients your way. You'll want to be able to recognize that. The result drop-down menu is a set list of 4 different results. This is a window that cannot be modified. No matter what the result is from your initial phone conversation or email correspondence, the results will fall into one of these categories. Appointment to talk further means that the client is interested and they'd like to set up a consultation to come in and meet with you. Booked session is what you would use if you were running a promotion or if this is a client that you've worked with in the past. They don't need any additional information. They're going to book an appointment, a session right over the phone. In this case, select Book Session. Could not fulfill request means that they've called in either about a type of photography that you just don't offer, or they need a date that you're not available. This happens a lot with wedding photography. If somebody calls in and their wedding date is a date that you're already booked, you would need to select Could not fulfill request. The final option in the list is Did not book. Did not book is used when they are still interested, but they're not ready to make an appointment for a consultation and they're not booking a session right over the phone. Now that we've set the result, we have all of the important information we need to save this inquiry. Since the person is still interested and we've selected Did not book, I'll click the Add Prospect button. By clicking the Add Prospect button, Successware is going to see if there are any possible clients or duplicates who are already in the system with this name. Since it's the same last name but it's not the same person, I'm going to click None. We now have our new prospect window. In the new prospect window, you can see that the name as well as all of the latest inquiry information has transferred over. While this person is a prospect, you'll always be able to see their latest inquiry information. And if later on down the road, if we turn them into a client, the latest inquiry information will follow to the client record. Now click the Save button, and the window will clear out so you can put your next inquiry in. Just like many of the windows within Successware, we have the red Help button up at the top. If I were to click the red Help button, it automatically launches your online user guide through your web browser. One of the options in the inquiry section is what is the best way to track inquiries. On this page, we have an option to download an inquiry log sheet. As you can see, it's a PDF form that has the date, name, salesperson, product line and category, as well as the result and the marketing strategy and source. If you prefer to write things down instead of adding it into the database as you're on the phone with someone, or if you have a single user version of Successware but multiple people are answering the phones, download and print out this PDF as many times as you need. You can have one at each workstation near each phone. At the end of the day, one person can go ahead and do all the data entry. For the inquiries that had the result of appointment to talk further, you can take your tracking a step farther. When you come to the inquiry list window, you'll see that all of the inquiries you've ever entered into Successware are listed here. You can change the sort order of your inquiries quickly by doing a few different things. One is you can simply click on the result header line. When you click on the result header line, it automatically populates all of your inquiries in alphabetical order based on the result. You can also use your sort button to change your sort order. So if you'd like to see your inquiries by date, from the most recent to the oldest, you can change your sort order and click OK. Now, if we want to break down our list so that we're only seeing a group of inquiries based on the result type, I can right-click on the header line where it says Result, and I have a drop-down menu. Now I can select only the type of inquiries I want to see. I'll select Appointment to Talk Further, and we're going to update one of our recent inquiries. Now, this particular inquiry had an appointment to come in and meet with us. Since they were put in as an inquiry in the past, we can now record what the result was of that in-person consultation. Who did they come in and speak with? We'll go ahead and select our salesperson and then the result of the meeting. If they decided to book based on that consultation, we'll select Book Session, and by clicking OK, we'll now turn this inquiry into a client. Their name transferred over for us, as well as their inquiry information. You'll put in all the details of this new client and then click Save. We've added in new inquiries, and we've also modified existing inquiries to update detailed information. Now I'd like to show you the reports that we get as a result of tracking this crucial information. As you can see at the top of the report menu, we have 3 different reports that deal specifically with your inquiry information. The first report is our inquiry report. This is going to give us a breakdown of all of our marketing strategies and how well our salespeople are doing on the initial phone calls. We have the option to report on all inquiries, inquiries between a certain date range. We can also open a search window and search for specific types of inquiries to report on. I'll go ahead and leave it defaulted at all inquiries. My next option is to sort what we want the report to show. I can click on the drop-down menu and see all of my different options. For this example, we'll select Marketing Strategy and Source. We now have our report. We have a breakdown of all of the different marketing strategies we offer in bold, and then the sources are directly below each marketing strategy. We have a column that shows us how many total inquiries were put into the software, and one that says possible inquiries. Possible inquiries means how many people had the potential to become a client. If anybody was marked as could not fulfill request, this number would be lowered. We can see how many of our inquiries booked an appointment, how many showed up, how many booked a session. Our second to last column shows us out of how many people showed up, we have 98% that actually booked a session with us. The final column shows us we booked 51% out of all possible inquiries. If we want to change our criteria that's shown on the report, all you have to do is click on the List By button and change your drop-down menus. If you'd rather see this information based on product line and category, we can see what types of photography we offer that are really causing people to contact us. If you're thinking of making any major changes within your business, definitely take a look at this report first. If you're thinking of getting rid of a certain type of photography, look to see what percentage of your inquiries are calling for that specific type of photography. You can also change the date range without leaving the report window by clicking the Report On button. You can print or export this report out, and if you need extra help with the definitions in this report, you can click on the red Help button. Our next report in the list is the Studio Meeting Report. What we're looking at here is how your staff members and even yourself, how are you doing when people come in to meet with you? What we have here is a simple breakdown based on each salesperson. We can see how many prospects that had consultations with them and how many of those prospects ended up booking a session. Our final column shows us a percentage breakdown. If we want a little bit more detail or a little bit more range on the report, just like your first report, you can click on the List By button and add a subcategory. If you want to see how each studio salesperson did in a particular month or how they're doing with a particular product line, you can change the results of this report. So what we'll see now is the different types of meetings our sales staff is handling and a breakdown of what types of sessions they're booking. This report is going to help you see who's excelling at in-person meetings and if there are any staff members who need some additional help. Final inquiry report is our inquiry sales report. Our inquiry sales report is going to tie in all of our sales numbers with our different marketing strategies, with our different sources, as well as our product lines and categories. When I click OK, you'll be able to see here that we have the same options we did before. If you're thinking of changing one of your marketing strategies, maybe canceling a display or getting rid of an ad that you're running, definitely run this report first. If all I select is marketing strategy, you'll see here I have a simple breakdown showing me my sales numbers as they're tied back to the inquiry information. We can see that from our display inquiries, people who contacted us because they saw a display, we had over $62,000 in sales. So before you decide to get rid of that display, take a look at this report. You can also see our Facebook sales are the lowest, so maybe we need to improve our marketing in this area. The final feature I'd like to show you for inquiries are the web inquiries. You can import your inquiries from the contact page of your website directly into Successware. To get started by doing this, you first have to come to your preference window. In your preference area, you'll see you have a preference for inquiries. You'll want to click the button that says Get Client ID from the Internet. A number will populate in the web inquiry client ID. Then be sure to put in a notification email address. Anytime somebody fills out the contact page of your website, you'll receive an email at the address you've entered here. Once you've set up your preference, come back to your inquiry menu and you'll want to do the web inquiry form wizard as well as the web inquiry error page wizard. Each wizard, once you've completed them, will produce a small amount of code. That code just needs to be updated on your web page. You'll still be able to keep all of the same branding on your contact page as you do have throughout the rest of your website. Once you've updated your website, you can simply come into the inquiry menu and click on the Get Web Inquiries button. Now, Successware will import all of the contact information that was uploaded onto your website, and it'll put it into the list inquiry window for you. When you look at your list inquiry window, you'll notice you have a web button up at the top. You can click on the web button and select Show Web Inquiries Awaiting Response to see everyone who's been imported that you need to now contact. A quick tip for adding in your inquiries: back in the preference window, if you select your inquiry preference again, you'll see you can have a default inquiry salesperson as well as a default studio salesperson. If it's just you that's dealing with new potential clients, or if you have a main salesperson, you can set that person as a default. If Janice is the main person who deals with all of our initial consultations, whether they be over the phone or in person, I can set her up here so that her name automatically populates when we're in an Add Inquiry window. This will save you a little bit of time on data entry.